So one of the downfalls of being in the independent shop is, especially in the city, is you deal with all kind of crazy customers, right? People with all kind of seasoning to their attitude. Let's just put it that way. And we often get people that come in here that they literally want to just argue with you. They don't want to be nice to you. They come in with an attitude. They come in expecting that you do whatever they want you to do, and that's just how it is. A lot of people come in on a budget. You know, it's not like fix this issue. And out in suburbia where people have more money and they live a little better and stuff like that, and they can focus on their livelihood and taking care of their vehicles and stuff a little bit better, people come in whenever they see problems happen almost right away. But in the city where people make less money and they have to spend more money on the cost of living and stuff to live in specific areas, and it takes away the majority of their money, when they come in with a whole list of problems. And it's not just one thing. It's vehicles that have been sitting for a long time. It's vehicles that have been repoed. It's vehicles that have been taken by the bank and then they got them back, or it's vehicles that have been sitting for years while they've been in prison and stuff like that. And you have to go through this, and you have to try to figure out where you need to be to make them happy. And it's always a struggle. It's always a struggle because you're always arguing with the customer. You're always trying to wheel and deal and trying to get money out of people and stuff like that, because it's a hard life to live as a repair shop, especially on the south side of Chicago, and one of the worst places in the United States to deal with customers, because they don't have a lot of money, and nobody actually talks about the life that independent shops live in cities like this, because maybe people are afraid to talk about it. Maybe people don't want to expose the reality of it. A lot of these people come in and they're like, I just want the check engine light off. And they don't have enough money to actually fix everything that's going on with the vehicle. So they just want the check engine light off, equates to, this is all the money that I have, and I'm going to agree to a certain amount of repairs, but I still want my check engine light off, and I can only afford this much. And if that check engine light's on, when I get it back, I'm going to complain about it and throw a fit, and I'm going to scream at you and yell at you until you give me what I want. That happens a lot. So I'm the guy that comes into the neighborhood, and I'm like, fuck that. That's not happening. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with your vehicle, XYZ. You only approve XY. I'm letting you know right now, when you get this vehicle back, the check engine light's going to be on. Don't come in here throwing a fit. Don't come in here running your mouth and stuff like that, because I'm going to send you right out the door. And then you've just lost a good, honest repair shop because you want to argue and fight about stuff. It's the type of customers that we get in the part of the city where I'm at. It's hit or miss, with people that actually want to pay. They don't want to throw a fit and stomp and threaten and everything else, versus people that come in and honestly want to do real quality business, and they have the money to put into the vehicle and stuff like that. And it's a different world out here. It's a lot of people don't know what it takes to actually run a business in a city like this, and people think that they have the clear-cut, concise, dry answer for how the business is supposed to be run and how you're supposed to make money, and that is not the reality of it. How you think your cookie-cutter mindset is in your realistic, fluffy world of how business is going to run, if it was you, or how you would do it, is completely different. Once you put yourself in this position, you'll realize that your idea of how things should be is not a reality of how it's actually going to be if you want to make money and be successful. So there's a lot of things that I have to do, and I have to reassure customers, and I have to cover my backside heavily in the aspect of making sure the business doesn't go down the drain, and telling the customer, you can spend $1,200, you can spend $2,000, but this vehicle is still not going to be fixed. And I'm going to put this in writing, that you understand that this vehicle is still not going to be fixed. So if you come back here trying to argue and run your mouth and go off about how you're not happy with this and that, I've already told you, and you've already signed off on the paperwork. So, I'm not going to be the one. This ain't, you might go next door to Billy Bob or something like that and get away with it, but not here. This ain't the shop. There's a new sheriff in town. and it just don't happen. But you still have to also understand that people live different lifestyles. They're used to a different type of person that they're dealing with. They're not used to dealing with the Ford boss. It's different here, and I put a kibosh to that stuff real quick. I don't deal with all the arguing and the fighting and stuff like that. And you know, since I've been here the last couple months, it's one of those things where people have tried me. And I'll just tell, there was a lady called up the other day screaming at me on the phone and stuff like that. And I said, hey, you gonna sit here and scream at me? Or are you going to get off this phone and bring your car in so I can look at it? Because I'm not going to sit here on the phone and argue with you and scream at you and go back and forth and stuff like that, because it's ridiculous. I'm not doing it. I'm not the guy. So either get off the phone and bring your car in, or I'm hanging up the phone. Well, you know, and then the attitude changes and everything else when you actually check them in that aspect. And okay, all right, I'll bring it in. Now there's no more. They're just not. They're used to having somebody scream back and forth with them, and I ain't going to do that. So it's different running the business in a city. It's much more complicated than your general suburbia type atmosphere, and the expectations of the customer and stuff like that. Some are a lot of times unrealistic out here closer to the city, and you get what you get, unfortunately. There's not really much you can do about it. If you want money to pay the bills and run a successful business, you have to understand that sometimes you just get what you get, and you got to make the best of it. Well, it's my thoughts for now. A little opening segment this morning, a little late, but it is what it is. I appreciate y'all. Be blessed. Remember, be kind. Don't be mean. It doesn't pay to be mean. It pays to be kind. Just be nice to people. That's all. I love y'all. Take care.